Guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I'm here with a review for Aliens Dark Descent. As you know, I've been covering more digital games here recently, and I love the Aliens franchise. This is a strategic style game, so it was definitely up my alley, definitely one I wanted to check out. It is based on the only movies that are actually really worth a damn in the Aliens franchise, 1 and 2. We're not going to get into 3 and Resurrection, and oh my god, they just destroyed it I don't like Prometheus personally. Some people might. I don't. I think they went off the rails. I'm sorry. An android making the aliens. No, stupid. We're not gonna go there. So as far as this review goes, I'm going to use a lot of footage that I recorded while I was playing this game, but I'm going to keep it to the early parts of the game. That way I don't have any story spoilers in there for you guys. So everything that you're going to see here is stuff that you would generally see within the first hour or two of the game, depending on how quickly you're playing through it. No big spoilers. Of course, there might be an alien queen in there, but anyone who doesn't know there's going to be an alien queen in here isn't really paying attention. Of course, there's going to be a queen. Which I actually have to say, the queen shows up a lot sooner than you would expect.
Light them up!
Which makes me wonder what's going to be at the end of the game. So when it comes to Aliens Dark Descent, this is essentially XCOM set in the Aliens universe. And I'm not talking about the original XCOM, right? So it's similar, but we're talking more like XCOM, the recent version of XCOM, and then XCOM 2, and the way that those games played out. So much of this game is just cut right from it. In a way, this could almost be a mod for the XCOM game. And graphics are a little bit better, more modernized, but so much of it just right locks up in line. But there is enough that's different that changes it and does make it its own. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. XCOM is an excellent game. So having something set in the Aliens universe that is similar to a game that is already great isn't bad. I'm not saying that this being a kind of clone of XCOM in a way is bad. It's really not. I like how they've done this game, and in fact, there are parts of this game that I like over XCOM. That does mean, though, that sometimes the gameplay that you're going to have here is going to be very, 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 very familiar to XCOM. I mean, even painfully familiar, almost just ripped straight from it. Instead of having an underground base that you have a workshop and a laboratory and a barracks in, you're going to have a ship that's crashed on a planet that has a workshop and a laboratory and a barracks in it. Instead of having a dropship that you're going to launch full of soldiers and robotic troops, you're going to have what I call the Pelican Mark II that's full of Marines and an armored personnel carrier. So yeah, basically when it comes to the strategic aspects of this game, that portion, right, the map, when you're looking at things, all that, it's almost a direct rip. Like I said earlier, you really could just say this is a mod, right, for XCOM in a way. And the fact that everything plays so similar to what we've already seen before. I am going to touch on this a little bit later. One of the things that is distinguished is you do still have a grand map where you're picking missions, but you don't get just to control the flow of time. There's this day aspect, and honestly, I don't like the way that the days work in this. It makes you choose between certain things, and it really just doesn't work that well. You can't just decide to go on a mission. You have to let time pass, a day pass before you can go on another deployment out. And I don't like this. You have enough Marines that you can send a squad out, carry out a mission, and then when they come back, if you want to send another squad out, you should be able to do so without having to click the button, let time pass, let the alien infestation grow. To me, I think that was just a bad choice. They took some of that control away from the player. But while we're touching on the aspect of things that were taken from the player, you do have the ability to save scum in a way. And yes, I will admit, I'm a dirty guy. I save scum. It is what it is. Don't hold it against me. but you really can't do it as well in this game as you can in XCOM. And the fact that this game is based completely on auto saves. You do not have the choice to save during a mission at any point, or even at the strategic level. You really don't have an option at this point, unless they patch it in later, to save whenever you want to. It's all based on an auto save. And I don't like the way that does it, because sometimes I've had it to where I get done playing for the evening and I would go to exit out of the game, and certain aspects would not be saved. Certain things that I had done in the strategic base portion were not saved, and I had to redo those things when I logged back into the game, because I didn't have the option to just save right where I'm at. And what happens if you're in a live mission? You don't have the ability to just save in between turns. This doesn't work on turns, but regardless, you can't just save at any point. It's all auto-saved. You do have the choice to pick between the different levels of save, right? So you can have mini autosaves where it autosaves more often, or you can make the game more difficult where it's going to autosave only at specific points, but you really never have the choice to just save whenever you would like. I personally would really like to have the ability to just save whenever I like. I don't see why they didn't do this. There's enough autosaves that if you want to save scum, you still can. So they're not removing that aspect of the game. Why take that control away from the player? Just leave the saves alone. Don't mess with it. I don't want the game picking when the game saves. I want to pick when the game saves. Now let's start talking about some of the things that it does different. Like I said, the strategic portion of the game, the map portion, the base portion, is so similar to XCOM that if you played XCOM before, you're going to jump right into this one and know exactly what you're doing. The combat portion, though, that's where Aliens really sets itself aside, because it does not operate the way that XCOM does. XCOM has a grid-based, turn-based system, in the fact that you will take your turn, you will move your troops, they'd have 2 actions, they could move a short distance and fire, or they could move a great distance by dashing but not be able to fire, things like that. Generally speaking, in that game you would have 2 actions. Some actions would require that you use all of your action to perform it, but it was turn-based. You go, the aliens go. You go, the aliens go. Back and forth. In Aliens, it's completely different in the fact that it's essentially real time. Now, that's not to say that you can't pause. There is an option. You can either have it slowed when you're selecting a skill, or you can have it pause when you select a skill. That is up to you, and that's one of the difficulty settings you can have in this game. But other than that, combat's going to be real time, which I think is absolutely crucial for a game like this. XCOM was much more tactical in the way that the aliens were fighting you. The aliens were similar to your troops in the fact that they had weapons and they would try to flank you and move around. They were tactical in the way that they did things. In this game, these aliens are swarmers. They have a queen, they have drones. They're going to be running in on you. You're going to be outnumbered greatly compared to these guys. Not that you weren't in the original XCOM game, but it's a different type. They're more animalistic, obviously, in the way that they behave.
All right, we're all set. They're coming. Give those bugs a warm welcome, Marines. Open that door.
On my way. All right, let's see what's in there.
Decontamination process engaged. Processing. Processing. Decontamination complete.
Bro, bring him down! Bring him down! Bring him down!
Let there be light.
They're heading our way! Zeno, in the front! More signals incoming! Zeno, in the front! Throw! Let's rock! This gun is a frickin' longbow! we're good. Let's bring the vet to safety.
And that lends itself to this real-time combat so much more than a turn-based system would ever work in this game. So as you're going along in between all the different areas on this map, which I do have to say lines up with the Alien theme very well. Everything looks like it would be set in the Aliens type universe. But as you're going along, you're going to click and you have control of your entire squad. Think of your squad as your blob, right? Your blobs moving around the map. You can move them individually, but generally speaking, you're not going to really do that. It doesn't work all that well. So you're just controlling your guys. You're going to move them around as a group. They'll have whatever weapons they have, and you're going to run into your objectives, try to rescue people, try to activate generators, whatever it is that you're working on. But the game's not going to stop, and you'll hear that telltale blip as the aliens are caught on the motion scanners, and it gets sped up more rapid as the aliens are coming in on you, and you see that little white dot, right? They just drip with theme in this game.
Going deeper and deeper into the lair of the beast. Charming, really.
Keep that line clear, squad. It's already hard enough to hear you with all that trimonite around.
I'll try to adjust comms to those caves, but keep your eyes peeled.
Move! Move!
Right now!
Let's see what's inside.
Come on, team!
Copy.
Let's see what's inside.
I have multiple signals. Hurry up, squad! Come on, team! More signatures spotted.
Quiet. It didn't see us.
And something like that could not be done if they were doing this in a turn-based system. It just wouldn't work. So having this real time as you're moving through and you hear the blip and the aliens are moving through, or they'll bust out of an air vent, it just works so freaking well. But like I said, you do have the ability to pause and or slow, depending on your difficulty settings, the game when you select your skills. And your skills are going to be things like firing off a shotgun blast or shooting off a grenade, setting up a sentry turret, all the key elements that you would expect in an Aliens type game using the Colonial Marines are going to be here. And I'll touch on this a little bit later on, but you will get the ability to upgrade your weapons. Obviously, you're going to start with the basics, which is going to be the pulse rifle, and the sounds are so great. I mean, they sound exactly like they sound like in the movies. But you'll start off with your guys just having basic pulse rifles. But as your squad levels up and they go into their specific classes, you will have the ability to spend resources and unlock things like the smart gun or sniper rifles or flamethrowers to give your squad that extra punch that they need as they start to encounter the harder aliens as you go along. Now, continuing on when it comes to the combat, there are some very key differences again with XCOM. And one of those very key differences is the fact that you have limited supplies. And it's not just supplies, it's ammo. Your guys don't have unlimited ammo as you're going along. And at first I thought this was going to be something I would hate about the game. Games like this, strategic games, I don't like having to worry about ammo. I mean, I get having to worry about things like med kits or sentry turrets. Obviously, you're going to have a limited amount of those, but I didn't want to have to worry about ammo. Like, this isn't a first-person shooter, but it works well in the way that this game plays because you do have to have that bit of pressure onto your squad because of the way the game plays, which I'll touch on in just a sec. But as you go along, you're going to have the ability to search the area for extra supplies, engineering equipment that you can use to seal doors, just like with the welders that you've seen in the movie, set up sentry turrets, or gain extra clips that you can use for your different weapons. Now, that's not to say that you're going to completely run out and just be at the mercy of the aliens. You do have a selection of sidearms, pistols, and the like that your guys can switch to if they do run out of ammos for their pulse rifles or smart guns. But see, when I'm talking about all of these limited supplies, the key aspect to this is the fact that in Aliens, you are not going to just end the mission when you complete your objective. I think that first map that you're on has something like 14 different primary objectives. And that's not even talking about the side objectives that you can get caught up in doing. 14 primary objectives. You're not going to complete all of those in one run. Your troops are going to get injured. They're going to get stressed out. The aliens are going to pick up on your presence and start hunting you, which is another awesome aspect of this. And like I said, you're going to start running out of supplies. You're not going to be able to stay out in the field forever. So whereas in XCOM, you would go complete whatever mission it was and then go home, here you can stay out as long as you want. You can keep pushing it that little bit more, but your squad's going to start to wear down. You're going to start to run out of those supplies. Your ammo is going to start to run low, and your stress levels are going to start going up, which gives your Marines debilitations. They're going to have these negative modifiers as their stress level goes up. It's going to reduce their bravery. It's going to reduce their accuracy. Just like in real life, you can't keep your troops in combat forever. Eventually, they're going to snap under the pressure. So it's up to you whenever you would like to extract. If you feel like your squad has accomplished enough for now and you need to go back and refit and resupply, switch out some guys, you go back to your APC, and that's when you select to extract. And you'll do the traditional thing that you've seen in games like this before, where you go back, your troops will get promoted, you'll be able to go to your base and research things and put people in the med bay and all that good stuff. But it's up to you when you're going to do that. If you want to push through that little bit more, you can, but it might end up costing you. Thankfully, in this game, if you are ever at a point where things are getting ready to hit the fan, they do let you know. So if you're getting ready to have a boss fight or a swarm of aliens is going to come in, a key aspect in the story, then they tend to let you know. They'll give you a little warning. Hey, before you click this button, this bad thing might happen. Are you sure you're up to it? Okay, hit okay, and then whatever's going to happen. As you can see in this example here, when I click this button, we cut to a cutscene, and all of a sudden I'm fighting an alien queen.
Roger. All right, let's see what's in there.
than the slaughterhouse one. Light it up.
Grenade!
We're spotted. Veteran approach. Come and get it. I'm ready. Move! Move! Come on, team.
Marine on...
Which the first time I fought the alien queen, I got my butt handed to me. Some other aliens came in, they took out my squad from behind. One of my guys got captured and was run off with, which I didn't really want to lose. So yeah, I might have save scummed this one a little bit to save my Marine. I didn't want to lose him. And instead, I popped the alien with a bunch of grenades right at the start, hit the queen with all of that, little bit of automatic fire, took her down, and then we were able to handle the rest of those aliens as they came running in because they were nowhere near as bad as the queen. But we did have that little bit of a warning before we hit it to cut to the cutscene and start the whole combat. So I knew, hey, if I'm not up to this, if my squad is too wounded, if I don't have the ammo, whatever the case may be, I can pull out, go back to the APC, and come back later on and redo this with a fresh squad when I have more ammo. Also attached to this, right, just like I'm saying with the stress level and ammo and the supplies, you also have that hunt meter that you can see in the upper right portion of the screen. And that's going to fluctuate throughout the game as well. And that's going to build as the aliens keep running into you, as you keep taking out drones, as you keep doing things, the aliens are going to start building up their pressure and they're going to start gunning for you harder and harder and harder and harder as you accomplish these objectives. So just like you want to pull out before you get to a really bad portion, you want to make sure and extract your guys before that hunt level gets too high and the aliens are going to come in and take your guys, because that can happen. You don't want to lose your Marines. You don't want to invest all this time training them and getting them up to sergeant or gunner position so they can use that smart gun, just to have some little drone run up and grab your guys and take them off to have a face hugger come and plant a chest burster into them.
On it. Let's see what's inside.
Move! Move! We're spotted. Come on, team.
Bring him down! Oh yeah, don't mess with me.
Good job, guys.
Incoming!
They got our scent. Look alive.
It's a throw.
I really love this gun.
So like I said, that is one of the coolest aspects of this game, is the fact that you get that choice. You get to determine when things are going to happen. You can pull out if you need to, come back in with that fresh squad, or even if you want to kind of balance things out, make sure your other Marines are getting that experience, because you really do want them to go up in levels. Maybe you've rescued a soldier while you were out and you can bring him back and have him trained as well, because you can rescue other engineers, scientists, and Marines to join your squads. So you want to be able to make use of those guys as well. Like I said, you're going to have injuries, you're going to have stress levels, you're going to be able to make all those decisions on your own. And I think that really takes and sets this game apart from its XCOM roots. I like that choice that is given to the player, whereas in XCOM, your choice is win the mission or die. You can reload the game if you want to, but if you don't accomplish the mission, that's it. You're going to fail the mission. Now you can fail some missions, except for like a base invasion in XCOM. But there's no point at which you can go on XCOM, you know what? My guys are hurt. The mission's not going well. Let me pull back and I'll come back and try this again with a fresh squad. You can only just reload your save and hope you do better on the next time. This one, I think, has a more thematic feel to it. And the fact that there's that push and pull as you get your supplies, build up your guys, and try to take out that alien threat. So, like I'm saying, you get that choice to extract. Now, what happens when you extract back to your base? It's going to be the typical thing that you would see in XCOM. Like I said before, your squad guys are going to level up. They're going to gain new abilities. One of the things I don't like is you do have to pay for some of those abilities. So you have some inherent ones that your guys will get from gaining whatever their specialization is, whether it's a sergeant or a medic or a gunner, whatever that is. But you can also pay for certain special skills that go on to the guys, but those cost 30 resources a piece, and you don't have that many resources. And when it costs 100 to buy a new weapon, like the smart gun or the flamethrower, I would rather put those resources towards the new weapons than the ability to carry one extra clip. Now, something interesting did happen to me when I was leveling up my guys that I thought I would point out here because I did not like how this worked. When you are looking at your screen, you'll have your 4 Marines standing there, and you can click on them if they've earned a promotion, right? Everything's great, cool. But when I clicked on my first guy, I had a couple of choices. He could either be a sergeant or he could be a gunner. Well, at this point, my guys hadn't leveled up to their specializations yet. So I really wanted to get the gunner because I needed the gunner to unlock the smart gun. Great. But the sergeant gives this passive bonus to the whole squad. I'm like, okay, well, I've got another guy that's leveled up. If that other guy has the ability to be a gunner, I'll make him the gunner and I'll make this one the sergeant. It'll work out great. Cool. So I back out and I go to the next Marine who's got the promotion. And sure enough, he's got, I think it was gunner and medic or gunner and tech, something like that for his options. So I pick gunner for him. And then I go back to that first Marine thinking I'll take sergeant for him. And instead, it had changed. I did not like this. I did not like the fact that the 2 options I was originally given were no longer the 2 options that were given when I made a choice for a different Marine, because now I no longer had the sergeant option. I had, I think it was tech and gunner or medic and gunner, one of those, but sergeant was not one of the options. And I tried backing out and going back into it, and it wouldn't show sergeant again. For some reason, it changed when I promoted another Marine before this Marine. That might be a glitch. That might be a quirk in the game. I'm unsure why it would do that. It made no sense to me, but it cost me the sergeant, because if I had known I wasn't going to get that sergeant promotion again on him, I would have picked that first and then gotten a gunner later, because gunner pops up a lot more often than sergeant does. All that to say that if you do see a promotion on one of your units that you really want, go ahead and take it, because if you try to go to a different unit to promote them, to try to get the specifics that you want, it might not be there when you actually go back to that original Marine. Another cool aspect of it is you can customize your squad. I've got all my Marines in there customized. I put my kids in it, I put myself in it, I put some of my buddies in there, I put my brother in there. You can even put their nickname that they're going to go by. So I have my buddy Mo in there, put his last name as Ron, so Mo Ron. But anyway, I love the level of customization that you do have for your troops. You can change their faces, you can change skin tones, I think you can change haircuts, body armor, the color of the armor, so many different options. But there was one quirk when it came to the customizations that I just did not understand, and that was the faces were uglier than sin. It was bad for the male Marines, but it was god awful for the female Marines. As you can see from this example on screen right now, I don't know what the hell's going on with this, but the female Marines, it looks like all of them were beat to death with an ugly stick. I don't know what's going on with this. Luckily enough, you're not going to see their faces that often since it is strategic. You're above them. most you're really going to pay attention to is looking at their armor when they're actually on the field doing their Marine stuff. But looking at them in the barracks, these faces are just horrible. It means put the helmet on and hope you don't have to look at them. All right, so when it comes to Aliens Dark Descent, where do we land at? Well, when it comes to the story, like I said, I'm not spoiling anything. I don't want to spoil it for people out there who might not want to know. So general gist is, from what I've seen, the story is good. It does seem to leave things on a little bit of an open-ended note, so they can maybe put in DLC, and I don't like it when games do that. I think, and this is just me guessing, I think that they didn't end things on a definitive note. That way it could be expanded upon if the game was received well, which I would fully expect them to do because the game's actually really good. I don't like it when games do that, though. I want the whole package, right? If I buy the game, I want the game to be done. I want DLC to expand on it. Maybe it can expand the middle missions or add more to it. Or it needs to be icing. It doesn't need to be more cake. And it seems like that's the direction they kind of went with this. Left it open so they could continue on the story rather than add to the story with DLC. Again, that's my guess, but this is what I think when it comes to the story. The story is fun. I will say it starts slow. Understand that the first hour is going to drag a little bit with this game. It's like the tutorial type way that they went with it. Yeah, it sucks. Pretty much everyone's agreed with it so far that it does not start on a strong note. But once you push through that early bit where it's teaching you, hey, hide here, shoot this, blah, 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 and you actually really get into the game, then everything starts to fall in place. When you're at your base, pushing your missions, the game is great. Just get past that first 30 minutes to an hour, just depending on how quickly you can blast through it. And then the game opens up into a really nice package. When it comes to it, if imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, then XCOM should be flattered beyond belief because they are imitating the living hell out of it, especially the strategic portions of the game. But they did take the action portion of the game and they turned it into something of their own, and they've done a really good job with it. I don't see anything wrong with it because there are multiple games in the same type of genre. That's like saying we can only have one type of first-person shooter or RTS or RPG or whatever that is that you like. I like games like XCOM, so having something else that's in a similar vein isn't going to hurt my feelings, and especially when it's set in the Aliens universe, which works really well for something like this, because you control your squad, you go out, you run missions, you try to rescue people, you try to take out alien queens. This is excellent for a game like XCOM. It's humans fighting aliens. You're not much different here. Also, the game does pay homage to the source material, right? Especially Aliens, the second movie, Aliens versus Alien, going through, seeing things like the yellow loader that Ripley used in Aliens to fight off the Queen. You see a bunch of those around the first mission as you're getting ready to go into the mine shafts, right? The fact that they talk about the shotgun, right? All those classic lines that you would hear in the Aliens movie, they are used here in the game. Sometimes a bit much, but generally speaking, it's really not that bad. And it's fun. It's cute. You recognize it, especially if you're a huge fan of the Aliens movies, and it's just great to see that in the game. You love it. It kind of brings you more into it. Some people I've seen say they feel like it pulls them out of the game because it's corny sometimes, but I like that corny stuff, that dumb humor, and paying homage to a just classic, excellent movie. Ultimately, when it comes to the game, if you love the XCOM game and you are into the movie Aliens, right? You like the Aliens lore and all that good stuff, then this is an absolute buy. Don't miss it. It's a blast. It is a whole lot of fun. If you just like XCOM, not a huge fan of Aliens, whatever the case, then you could wait for a sale on this one. It's not badly priced at $40. It is perfectly reasonable for the content that you get at that price. But I know this game's going to be on sale in a few months and you'll probably be able to pick it up for 20. If you would rather wait, you're not going to be hurt by doing so. Not to mention some patches will probably come along, and or you might be able to get the future DLC as a one buy bundle, which will work as well. Either way, you really can't go wrong. But if you are into these strategic style games, you like Aliens, you're really doing yourself a disservice to miss this one, because it is just a lot of fun. Not that first hour. Once you get past that first hour, then it's a lot of fun. That first hour, that sucks. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Y'all take care, and I will catch you in the next one.